Buckets. That's the name of my boat. Buckets.
Buckets. What we get.
Not the only transfer we got from Florida. Keith Stone, too. Remember that.
Everybody who watches his show on a regular basis knows my love of the stretch four.
You know, we all make mistakes. He might have made one going to Tallahassee.
Mercy if y'all don't know. Dribble to the left, cross over to the right. Hurricane to the game, many buckets for the night. Matt with the pick and roll, Melissa with the give and go. This alley-oop, pretty girl dunking in the hole. Check the scoreboard, this what we ball for. Peep the gameplay, they want an encore. Yeah, overtime for another round. It's buckets after buckets, baby. You out of time. It's buckets. What it is, homie, it's buckets. Woo! We getting buckets. Yeah, baby, buckets.
I have no shame.
I know. That's the problem.
You guys are awesome.
What up, everyone? Welcome to another Buckets show. Second one this week. 2 out of 3 days in a row.
Much happier one.
We're here to talk some winning basketball, which means we're talking about the women because they're the team that's winning right now. They decided to give us a heart attack and go down 17, and then in usual fashion, won in overtime. How you doing, Vish?
Well, I mean, I've recovered from COVID and that game, so I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Vish was at that game. I was not. And we went down. We went down 17 at the half. I think we were down by much as 17 was. We were down by 18 at one point, weren't we?
We were down by 18 in the second quarter. At one point, 17 at the half.
At one point, we were down by 18, and then Vish spoke it into existence and said that we kind of just needs to outscore them by 10 every quarter, and we sort of did that. And
just need Cheyenne to hit that buzzer beater and avoid the overtime, and I had it nailed.
Yeah, but we won an OT. Very eerily similar to the Oklahoma State game in the first round of the tournament last year. Vish was sitting in the stands having deja vu.
Yeah, felt similar in that we just couldn't buy a bucket. It wasn't bad looks. It was bad shot attempts. The ball just wouldn't go in. And they were just dropping bombs on us. And I was kind of like, none of that is going to continue. So just stick with it. And we did. And
Jada came out in the second half and hit back-to-back threes. And we were off to the races.
Well, it was a slow jog.
It was a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah. Because after that, the league kind of sat there at like that 5 to 10 point range for most of the game, essentially, because we pretty quickly got it down to like 6 or 7, and then we'll get to your quote and what that means for the uninitiated. But yeah, we actually quickly cut the lead like in half, and then it just kind of sat in that 5 to 10 point range.
And then we kind of just like went back and forth, and then managed to tie it, and then got the lead in OT and didn't look back, although they made it close. Yes,
we had one play in OT that I'll be talking about later. That
Vish's soul almost left his body at one point during the OT.
I mean, if we had lost because, and then I'll pull that play up later, and we can all view its glory together. But
I wasn't able to watch the game live, so when I got back to my mom's house last night, I ended up watching the game at like 12:30 at night, and proceeded to continue to narrate the replay of the game in our group text.
Yeah.
But I think the pressing thing that at least I want to talk about is the the choices of lineups, although I would say the rotation, but there wasn't much of a rotation in the second half.
Yeah, I know she kind of just stuck with it.
But
yeah.
the lineups were quite interesting. And that takes me to my quote, which is 4 minutes exclamation point exclamation point. And this is referring to the fact that Z only played 4 minutes in the first half, and that was the last 4 minutes of the second quarter. I was watching this game, and like at first I want to say like I'm really happy Tosh is getting more minutes, because as we get into March and stuff, we're gonna need all three of our bigs to have good games. Like we're gonna need all three of them. And she had some questionable things happen, but she played well for some parts as well. I don't understand.
That's the first half box, by the way.
Yeah,
That's what you're talking about.
I don't understand the not having Z play until 4 minutes left in the second quarter. I guess coach also was wondering what she was doing, because Z played most of the second half. There was 20 minutes plus 5 minutes in OT, which is 25 minutes, and Z played a total of 27 minutes. So she played 23 minutes of the complete 25 minutes of the second half in overtime, and played quite well. If I,
no, she won. She was MVP of the game from
7 of 12. Missed one free throw, 4 offensive rebounds, 3 defensive rebounds. 0 personal fouls, which is nice to see considering she's had foul trouble. And 1 turnover, which I think may be the turnover that you almost lost.
Well, I guess that was credited to her. I'm not sure if that was.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but play my girl more often. I'm just saying. Just saying. Not that anybody important on the team is going to watch this, but I don't know if Coach Meyer ever watches replays of our show. But
well, I think so. But with the 3 bigs, she does kind of do it by feel, and depending on the opponent, different opportunities arise. In this case, Z was the third woman up. So she kind of didn't get in there until late in the first half, but
then it was, and I get back to interesting lineups. Z and Tosh were on the floor together for most of the second half.
Yeah, and Coach talked about that, right?
We haven't seen a lot of 2 bigs in the game at once, like the entire season.
Well,
at one point in the second quarter, I think Tosh and Kyla were on the floor together, but for most of the second half, we went with 2 bigs. It was very interesting.
Yeah, and it started, like you said, in the first half, and I think that's Coach actually talked about that in her post-game press conference, that she found something that she thought was working there, so she just stuck with it. I mean, which worked, obviously. It's one way to work around.
Except for foul trouble, we pretty much saw like the same lineup the entire.
Yeah, it was Cheyenne in foul trouble, and then we went to, kind of surprisingly, Lachey and not Jazz, who hardly played.
In the second, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is the full game box, so those are her.
Yep.
Her totals with the
and
2 points.
We'll also mention, we obviously don't have any information, but Lamaya seemed to have went down with a significant knee injury in the first half. Going in to shoot a layup, which she made. She planted really hard on, I believe it was the right.
It was the right, yeah, it was the right.
And you could see it was not a comfortable landing on that foot, and went down. And even before she hit the ground, was already grabbing her knee. She had to be helped off the court. Did not put any weight on that leg at all. They haven't released any information, but our assumption is she's out for the season.
Yeah, I think at this point, and we'll talk about the implications of that, because she's a key. It's a deep team. She's a key player on that team. So, yeah, we'll certainly, before we wrap this up, talk about, what do we think that's going to do rotation wise. Although it's hard to figure out what the rotation even is with this team. So
I don't think you and we talked about it before the even season started, about how Coach Meyer didn't know who her starters were going to be, and she's not afraid to change it up. She's shown it in second half. She's changed who starts the second half. So I don't think anything's set in stone. Hey Al, what's up, Daniel? Nothing's set in stone. She she changes her lineups as she sees fit.
I do think actually she has kind of settled on the 4 non-big starters. It is going to be, Julia, Jasmine, Cheyenne,
Jada.
That is your 4. And then the one she keeps rotating is either Kyla or Z. And it almost feels like whichever one she starts, the other one does better.
I swear it seems like that though. That's complete facts. It's kind of crazy to me because Z did not have a good game against FSU.
No, she didn't, and Kyla was better in that game. And Tosh had a pretty good game there. So I continue to expect her to kind of feel that position out.
Yeah.
The other 4, I think we've got the starters in there, and then you got Lachey as the first person off the bench probably at this point.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how that goes without Lamaya. Obviously Lachey has gotten a lot of time even before the injury, but
yeah.
I would assume we're going to see more of Allie.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of more Allie and maybe more of these 2 big lineups.
Yeah. We just gotta hope that the rest of them stay healthy. We don't need a situation like we have with the men's team where everybody and their mom is injured.
Yeah, I think it's, it is what it is there. It's just if people get injured, they get injured. Just gotta play with whoever you got. So
yep.
So did you? No,
this is definitely a needed win. We needed this win.
Well, so you obviously knew we had won as you were watching the replay. So how frustrating was that? I guess for you from that perspective of
the first half.
Yeah, because you already knew it was going to end okay. So it's a little bit different than what I experienced.
If I'm watching that live, I agree with your take how it was very reminiscent of the Oklahoma State game because I wasn't really angry at the shots we were taking. They just weren't falling. I mean, most of them, I'd say over 90% of them were good shots that we usually can make. I mean, when have we gone 0 from the 3-point line in a half?
Yeah, I think it was 0 for 11. Yeah.
Yeah, like we have really good 3-point shooters. So it was frustrating because they just weren't going in, but they weren't bad shots. And Clemson was just hitting anything and everything. So I was like, that's not going to last, and we're going to hit shots. And they showed it right off the bat. Jada hit 2 back-to-back threes. Clemson missed some shots, and all of a sudden we cut the deficit. So yeah, I mean, if I was watching it live, I'd be pissed. But again, like you pointed out, the Oklahoma State game, it was the same thing. We couldn't hit crap. They hit everything, and then we came back and started hitting shots in the second half. So
yeah, for me, it was more just frustration. Like, is it really we're just not going to be able to make shots, and that's that. Like, because I don't necessarily think we were playing poorly. It was just the ball wouldn't go, and then they had two players that were excellent, really the whole game, Harris and Robinson. That were both had the inside outside game going, and they were scoring, so it was difficult. Especially at the end of the first quarter, Shea banked in that corner jumper basically on accident. I think that was what she was trying to do, and you're like, okay, maybe that'll get it going, and it just didn't happen. They immediately hit 4 threes in a row to start the second quarter.
Yeah, it was. I don't see how we can that everything that could go wrong in the first half went wrong. Like, we couldn't make a thing, even though they were good looks, and Clemson was hitting everything. So the fact that we were able to come back and get it to overtime and win is something that it shows grit, and something that the men's team hasn't been able to do this season. So it's nice to see, but I can't keep taking. I mean, games like this before we've lost. We went down big to UNC. We were to come back within 3, and we lost. The same thing with the FSU game too. We were down big and tried to come back and lost. So it's nice to see us finally get a win, but it would be nicer if we don't dig ourselves these holes, because a bunch of our losses are because of these 10-minute stretches where we go down big, and we went down
Right.
big against Notre Dame. We did that same thing with Louisville, where we played with them pretty much the whole time, but we had this one stretch where we sucked, and then we were never able to bounce back. We have to stop doing that.
Yeah, no, it's consistency, and it's late in the season to be trying to get that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they did it in the tournament last year too. It's like y'all are killing me.
I mean, the tournament was wild last year because remember the Villanova game, we were up 20 in the second half,
And we gave up the lead.
Yeah, they took the lead late in that game. So. Wow, this team is give them this. They are mentally tough. They don't doesn't matter if they're up 20 or down 20. They're not phased by whatever is happening. So
nope.
All right, so come out in the second half, and she's got your girl Z in there now with Tasha and Jada, Cheyenne, and Leah, which is basically what she wanted to run the entire rest of the game. So Jada hits 2 threes in a row, and then gets whistled for a, let's just call it questionable.
God, we won't even talk about the
foul.
officiating because it was so bad.
Yeah, so now she's got to go back. So she'd finally hit a couple of shots. We're like, all right, we're hitting some threes.
And then she gets her third foul early in the third quarter and has to sit.
Right. Okay, so now she's back to the bench. Now you have some choices here, right? You can go Jazz, you can go Shay. At this point, she goes to Jasmine, I believe. So at what point do you think she decided that actually? Because then Cheyenne got into foul trouble later, and she went to Lachey, and that was it was a 6-person rotation. Like, at what point do you think she decided, all right, I'm just running with these people? Because it's a bold move.
I mean, I have no idea.
Well, because look, it's our bigs have been rotating all year. They're all kind of, depending on the opponent, you might play one versus the other. Essentially benching Jasmine for an entire half is a bit bold move.
I mean, they were getting a few offensive rebounds like Clemson was, so maybe she was trying to go big to help on the boards.
Oh no, I think that was definitely part of it. I'm just curious what you thought of, like, okay, because we had foul trouble with Jada, foul trouble with Cheyenne. She eventually just settled on, all right, if I have to take one of the guards out, Lachey's coming in. It wasn't Jasmine.
Maybe that she wanted somebody quicker because Harris was going off.
I mean, she kept going off.
Listen, I'm not paid the big bucks like Coach Meyer. I'm not going to question anything except why Z only played 4 minutes in the first half.
I'm just curious, like, what you think? Did you see something in the game that indicated? Because the lineup she ended up in.
I mean,
I
have to go back and rewatch it. I was watching this at like 1:00 in the morning last night. So I'm not sure. I think Z was playing really well.
No, I think
I thought Jada was playing a great game, and it's a shame she got in foul trouble.
Yeah, if she didn't, she would have played longer. Well, I think the two bigs coach said, we did, like you said, first it was Kyla and Tasha, but she's like, we found something there in the first half. We just went with it. And I do think what you said about the rebounding, they weren't missing that many shots in the first half, especially from 3. And then when they were getting the rebounds. So I think that part probably did do a lot to, hey, I have multiple bigs. Let me get them out there. Let's secure these rebounds. So I think that part, I don't know what she saw that made her decide that, hey, let me just, not the game for Jasmine. Let's let the other. So interesting to see. It's one of those things where
I think the Tosh Z lineup was working, like having them both in, because it gave Z a little bit more freedom to do like other things.
Right. But you can do that without benching Jasmine.
Why did she bench Jasmine? I mean,
yeah. That's kind of what I'm getting at, because she is.
I thought, well, I mean, you
Jasmine.
Look at it, Jada and Cheyenne, I thought were playing pretty good as far as like offensively in the second half. It's a shame they both got in foul trouble. I don't know why she benched Jasmine, quite honestly. I don't. It's a good question. I'd have to go back and look.
Yeah, no, I didn't really. I mean, something I didn't realize actually until you were texting me, watching the game on the second time.
Yeah, it was like Jasmine
like,
didn't play
well,
most
that
of
we
the fourth
just shrunk the
quarter.
rotation down to like, it was Shay and Cheyenne kind of rotating, and everyone else kind of just playing.
Mhm.
And that was mostly foul related. By the way, have you seen the Buckets group chat? Is Matt drunk?
No, I saw it. I wasn't gonna mention it, but I mean, since you mentioned it, I'm not.
Don't share his confidence. But anyway, back to the
Um,
women.
it seems like he may be drunk, considering he's making crazy predictions and using curse words.
I mean, let he who was without the fuck sign cast the first stone. Um,
Where is the fuck? Oh, I still have it hidden. That's now an amazing GIF.
it is, which I've been using at work, but we don't want to talk about that. All right, so okay, so we shrink the rotation down now. At some point, we pretty quickly, like you said, Jada came out at a couple of threes. We got some stops. We pretty quickly got it to single digits, and then it just kind of stuck there. They hit back-to-back threes at one point and kind of pushed the lead back out, but it was sitting in that 5 to 10 point range, really from like a couple of minutes into the second half, all the way till like there were like 2 or 3 minutes left in the game. Did you ever think? I mean, it's hard because you knew we were going to win, but it did feel for a few times there like it just wasn't going to happen.
Well, I mean, there was a point, I think in the fourth quarter, there was like maybe a minute and a half left, and we were down 4, and we like turned the ball over or missed a shot or something. And I was like, oh, well, if I had been watching that live, I would have been like, oh, the game's over. But then we caused a turnover and like hit a 3 or something. I forget how much time was it. It was super late.
Yeah, no, it's
If I
exactly.
was at the game, I would have been like, fuck, that's the game. Matt is not drunk, apparently.
I mean, is this ice cubes?
Matt, if you're able to be in the chat, why don't you just sign on in the show?
You got the link.
He has the link.
I don't know if I should let drunk Matt into the into the show
Well,
because
I'm guessing
I'm
he's on his
gonna
phone.
I'm gonna throw an allegedly in there. But yeah, no. So you know what it was? It was there was 2:30 left. We'd actually cut it to 2. If you recall, Julia made that fast break layup, which kind of that's spinning in the lane. It wasn't really a layup. It was like a contested runner, but she made it. Then we fouled them. They made a couple of free throws. We called timeout, and that was where Z missed twice in close. They weren't they're so if you look at our layup numbers, they're not great. I think it's like 14 to 26. That's because they're counting stuff like Z in the post shooting over a double team as a layup, which is not a layup. But so she missed, got the rebound, missed again, and then Julia got the rebound, tried to like throw a pass to Tasha at her feet.
Yeah.
And they stole it, and you're like, well, game over. This is when like you said, so actually I think I did tweet out that might do it because at that point now, because we missed so many times, like the clock ticked. So that turnover happens with 1:55 left. We're down 4. They got the ball. And the next sequence is they turned it over and then fouled Cheyenne shooting a 3.
Oh, that's right. And then Cheyenne,
ice in her veins, man. Ice in her veins.
Our free throw shooting down the stretch was a welcome sight because Cheyenne hit all 3 free throws, and Tasha hit 2 free throws to put us up 3 with like how much time was left? Like 5 seconds or something.
5.1.
Yeah, she got fouled and hit 2 big free throws, and this is someone who has not been at the line much this season.
Yeah, 5.1 seconds will forever be known as nacho time.
And then Clemson proceeded to, I don't know what play they actually were trying to call.
Well, we'll get to that in a minute because so at this point now all of a sudden it's like, all right, we're back in this game because now it's a 1-point game with a minute and a half left when it looked pretty dire there. So this is where they missed. Julia gets fouled grabbing the rebound. So all of a sudden we're shooting. Now there's like 101 left. We're shooting free throws for the lead.
She misses the first, makes the second. So it's tied.
And this is when the foul-a-thon happens. So theoretically, there's 101 left. It's a tie game. You figure, they'll take a shot. Depending on how much time's left, we'll either get a 2-for-1 opportunity maybe, or it might just shoot and they might get the last shot. Instead,
isn't this where like Lachey had like back-to-back fouls and fouled out or something, or was that in overtime?
That was here. She fouls out twice. She fouled. The second one being a foul out, but she fouled with 40 seconds left, so the shot clock sets to 20. Foul with 22 seconds left, the shot clock
So
resets.
Clemson gets the last shot,
Essentially, and then
basically.
what was going on with there? This is so you mentioned the end of overtime play. This one, I mean, they tried to throw it into the backcourt, and then I guess when they tried to advance it, it was too
Oh
close.
yeah, the Clemson player passed it to Harris, who was coming towards her,
Right.
but all her momentum was taking her over the half court line, so she had to throw it back to the court to the front court. Otherwise, it would have been an over and back situation.
Yeah, and it's just like, dude, because they
so
didn't.
He stole the ball, and Coach Meyer calls timeout with like 3 seconds. And honestly, Cheyenne had a great look. I even texted you when I was rewatching it. I'm like, I'm not mad at that play at all. She had a great look coming off a screen.
No, and you know, well, just to rewind a little bit to Clemson's play, because you had said they could hold for the last shot. They should have been able to, but they screwed that up. Like you said, they basically passed themselves into what would have been an over and back. Essentially, just threw the ball up into the front court, so they wouldn't get the over and back. Jalea steals it, gets fouled by 6 people. No one calls anything.
As she's stealing it, she gets freaking
she got assaulted.
Hugged. She was hugged.
Yeah, at one point, like her shirt came untucked because someone pulled it. I think it was. Look, the officials were terrible. I'll give them a slight benefit of the doubt here that it was such a weird, chaotic play. It's kind of like, what the fuck is happening right now? Like, wait, why is someone throwing the ball over their head from like half court? Like,
no, it was definitely a chaotic play.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you call the foul, you're almost giving the game to us if Jalea makes the free throws. But like,
yeah, so
I mean,
my issue is
pretty obvious.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think they just got like they were almost in shock that had transpired because what you expect to do, Clemson to throw the ball in, dribble the clock down. Now there was a 2-second differential, so you expect them to dribble it down to like 5 seconds and shoot, not throw it into the backcourt, try to advance it, and then have the ball flung up in the air as a free ball. But yeah, they blew the call. I mean, it should have been a foul. Now, to your point, then on the last play, so because look, in the last minute now, they'd called multiple fouls on Shea and fouled her out. They'd missed the should have been Jalea shooting free throws. So I think it was really important that whatever look you get, it is released where as the ball is in the air, the buzzer is going, because the last thing you want them to do is invent some kind of loose ball foul on us, and then Clemson
they get free throws.
Yeah, because everything was shooting.
Because both teams were in the bonus.
Right.
But no, so Jalea stole it, and as soon as she advanced over half court, Coach Meyer was immediately calling timeout. I think we had like 3.6 or something, 3 seconds and change left. And then the play ended up going in, I forget, I don't think Cheyenne caught it. I think it was pass. I don't even remember. But anyway, Cheyenne got a pretty much.
She inbounded it and got it back.
Yeah. It was kind of like those corner, like the under the basket kind of plays where she inbounds it to somebody and then kind of like runs off the big and catches it like in the corner to shoot the 3. It was kind of like that, but it was up at the top.
Yep.
And she had a great look, honestly. Like,
so it doesn't go, but frankly, like we hadn't had the lead since it was 4-2. So you're like, all right, we're going to overtime. That ain't bad from where this game was.
But I'm not even mad at it. I thought it was. I mean, Cheyenne can make that shot. She was open enough. I thought it was a great play call. She's one of your best shooters. So if something were to happen where they're stupid enough to foul, she shoots like 70.
That's the only.
75%, I think, from the free throw line, and so she's one of our best free throw shooters also. So to me, that makes the most sense.
I thought it was a good look. I thought it was important that we did a low turnover probability play, which
and it's a play we've run before.
Yeah, I guess the only thing I would question there is, look, it's a tie game. There's 3 and change left. You're in the bonus. Do you not drive to the rim and try to just get put on the wall in the game?
Yeah, but then you also worry about them calling an offensive foul. And then them getting, I think having one of your best 3-point shooter and your best free throw shooter taking a jump shot I think is safest without risking us causing an offensive foul and still getting a good look, because that could have easily gone in, and then we're not questioning it at all.
And I mean, I don't have a problem with the shot we ultimately took. I just, there is an alternative where, look, I'm just gonna. This is going towards the rim, and you're gonna make the officials call it. But the way those officials were going, there was definitely no.
Yeah, but it goes to the rim. God forbid Z, like, they call a charge on her like they did in that other game.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be free throws on a charge. It would have to be like a loose ball foul or something.
Yeah, I know, but I like the play. Cheyenne's our best free throw shooter. She's got the best 3-point percentage, one of the best 3-point percentages. She hit all 3 free throws earlier. Was that earlier? There was so much that happened on the stretch. I don't even remember what happened first, but I like
that
the
was
play.
earlier. Yeah, that was the previous.
I don't even know. Yeah, I like the play a lot. I honestly thought it was going in when she released it. I mean, obviously, like, we went to overtime, but like it looked like it was going in.
Yeah.
So
okay, so now we're in overtime, and then immediately she does hit a 3 in overtime. We quickly went up 5. Felt in control, but this was not done yet, thanks to our friends Harrison Robinson, who would not just lose.
That and that turnover when we were up 7 that gave Clemson the ball back.
So hold on, I have to set the scene for what transpired. So, like I said, Cheyenne opened the OT with a 3. Z scored. They made 1 of 2 free throws. There was buckets traded back and forth, but then with 2:26 left, we hit a 3 to go up 7. It was Jada, 71-64, and are you prepping the fuck song? What's happened? All right, so I mean, I don't even. What transpired here is
we're up 7.
Yeah, we're up 7. There is a little bit over 2 minutes left, and they finally, because they had not been missing shots, they finally missed a shot, and you're thinking, okay, here's our chance to take 30 off the clock, up 7. So worst case, you're up 7 with like a minute and a half left. It's pretty much game.
So we get the board.
Yeah, except now this is what happens.
Yeah, I love that you have a clip. You're still
okay. So here's the miss. Good.
There's the miss.
Great box out here, right? This is one of their backup bigs, or I guess she's technically a starter.
No one's boxing out.
Yeah, but Cheyenne gets the ball. Okay, it's our ball, no problem.
Yeah,
this should be done. Except, all right, what is this?
Why do we throw it to? Why are we passing it to Z?
What?
And why is Z acting like she's never touched a basketball before?
Yeah, this is. I was actually, for a game where we were down 17, made a big run. I was relatively, maybe it was the COVID. I was exhausted just from COVID. I was relatively even keel this game. This thing almost killed me because I cannot.
Because that's a big moment, because now they get the ball back. We're still up 7, but I believe after this they hit a 3.
Well, no. Well, after this, Robinson makes that 3-point play, blowing
or the 3-point play, or whatever. They get 3 points.
Yeah,
and so instead of us being up 7 with the ball, all of a sudden it's a 4-point game.
What is this?
I'm not sure why she passed it to Z.
Yeah,
I don't think Z was expecting the pass.
No, she definitely wasn't expecting the pass. I think Cheyenne stumbled a little. You kind of see that, but yeah, just your guard, hold the ball. So she threw it. It was turned over. And then Robinson made a 3-point play, and then shout out to Jalea, hit 2 massive jumpers down the stretch. So after Robinson makes a 3-point play,
and they weren't easy jumpers either. She made some good shots.
Well, after Robinson makes the 3-point play, we missed. We did fail to score. Jada missed a 3.
Clemson got to within 2.
Yeah, because Robinson took it to the hole again and scored. She was ridiculous. Now it's a 2-point game, and now you're sitting there. There's a minute left, and it's a 2-point game again, and you're sitting there like,
what the fuck just happened?
Yeah, because 45 seconds ago it was.
We were up 7 with the ball.
Yeah, it's what just happened? It's that play. It's funny now because we won.
We know we won, but at that moment you're like, what the hell?
And that's where Jalea just took ownership of the game and hit another big jumper.
But you know what?
Vish.
That's what you want from one of your juniors that's been with the program for 3 years and played significant minutes freshman, sophomore, and junior year. That's your veteran on the court being like, okay, I'm going to take this game over.
Which then at that point you're like, all right, we're up 4 with 50 seconds left. That
Make your free throws.
well, you're thinking that, except our friend Harris over here just pulls up and drops a 3 in our face, and now it's a 1-point game.
But we still made our free throws.
Well, first what we did was we missed a corner 3, potentially, but Tasha grabbed the offensive board. At which point, all right, so time and score. So Tamara James is calling the game for the Canes, and she dropped a few wheeze in there because she just lost her senses a little bit. But Tasha grabs the rebound. She first looked like she was just going to go up and shoot it. Even by the way, there's 6 seconds after the shot clock is off. So because we got the rebound. Mm-hmm. So he had to shoot because there's 33, I think, seconds. There's a 3-second differential. Jada got a good look. She missed it. It's fine. Good rebound. Great rebound. Instead of just holding the ball, she kicks it out to Jasmine while Coach Meyer is trying to call timeout to stop the dumbassery that is about to unfold. Jasmine is locked and shooting this fucking ball, man. Mm-hmm. Even though the shot clock is off and there's 5 seconds left in the game, but fortunately the timeout.
Well, is this the point where Coach calls timeout and Jasmine actually hits the 3?
Yeah,
but it doesn't count.
Yes, but the ball went in. But why are you shooting the ball? The shot clock's off.
No, yeah, I mean.
No,
at the moment you're like, don't shoot. But then, like, because Coach calls him out, Jasmine drains the 3, but it doesn't count. You're like, ah, shit.
Yeah, but I mean, come on. Like, who knows if that actually gets made, if it's like counting. But I think shout out to Coach for knowing your team, because actually, Tasha kicking it out to Jasmine, if Jasmine just holds the ball there, they're going to have to chase her down to foul her.
And she's one of our better free throw shooters.
Yeah, so that's a good situation to be in. But Coach knew exactly what was about to happen.
She was going to wind up.
She knew she was going to shoot it, which is not what
she was winding up.
So fortunately, she got the timeout in there, and then we got into Tashu, like you said, 2 clutch free throws. And then we'll get to your. You wanted to talk about this earlier. Let's talk about it now.
Clemson's last play of the game.
They called time. Well, first.
Well, they inbounded the ball, and then they called timeout again.
Well, yeah. So one of the. It's much more like the NBA than men's in that, you can call timeout and move the ball to half court. So they did that. Then they failed to get it in the first time, so they called timeout. I think they were calling timeout as she was throwing it in. And then, I mean, what was that?
Well, I mean,
so at this point they were out of timeout.
The girl that went to go shoot it, her foot was on the line, so it was only a 2. But also, she just like chucked it at the rim. It wasn't even a shot. Like she was rushing, and she had like another second.
Yeah, no, it was a panic. It was panic.
It was a panic shot, and her foot was on the line. So, I mean, I don't know what their play call actually was, but that was a disaster for them.
Well, part of it is because what you said, they had, they called timeout, so they didn't have any timeouts left. So the ball had to go in. And I think the panic actually started with the inbounds into the corner to a player that
isn't usually starting.
Well, no, it is. I think she's a starter. I think Elmore's a starter, but she's a 28% 3-point shooter.
Well, no, they were missing one of their players. Ott was the one who started, who doesn't usually start.
No, she does, doesn't she? In any event, the person they got the ball into could conceivably hit a 3 if she's set and it's open, but it was thrown into traffic because they were struggling to get the ball in. Which I think the bigger mistake they made was the first. If someone just get the ball, like you said, they'd gotten the ball into a guard. It might have even been Harris, who's definitely who you wanted to shoot the ball. But they were like hell bent on, we got this timeout in our back pocket. So, if it gets to like, a situation where we're even slightly struggling, just call timeout. So they called it too soon. And then the next time you have to throw it, and they threw it into the wrong player.
Yeah, because you don't have a timeout.
Yeah. So then you have to get it in. So they threw it into the wrong player, panicked. And like you said, even if even if she had made that, it would have
Even
been
if it went in, her foot was obviously on the line.
Yeah, her foot was
Like,
on
I
the
could tell
line.
watching the game
And
on
I
my
think it's,
laptop.
I think it's probably, you know, pretty telling that she does, you know, kind of wheel, throw the ball up. I think it hit, like, kind of grazed the backboard going by. It wasn't really close. Tasha grabs it, and then the buzzer goes.
Mhm.
She had plenty of time to,
She had more time.
if not rotate the ball, at least just square up and shoot it. So yeah,
It kind of reminded me of back a few years ago when Jaquan Newton hit that 3-pointer, like that half court shot to beat UNC at
against,
UNC. And
against
like
North Carolina.
I remember first of all I remember being mad because we allowed UNC to tie it with a 3-pointer. But then as he goes to shoot it, I'm like, you have more time. Like, you could have taken like another 1 or 2 steps. Why are
Juwan
you
knew what he
half
was
court
doing
heaving it?
because he knew
And
what
then
he
I
was
mean
doing.
it went in. But like that's what happened is she
That was
shot
his
it too
range.
soon. She had more time.
That was Quan's range. Why are you?
I know, but he had more. I mean, it went in, but it was
Game would have even been close if they didn't play Chris Likes. Anyway, the yeah, no, she panicked. She
Matt's
didn't know how
not here
much
to
time.
defend his boy.
What's there to defend? Arkansas's finest can go play for Arkansas. She panicked and threw it in there, threw it up, and then, you know, big win. Big win. You can tell outside the player. And one of the things I really love about this team is, like you said, we shorten the rotation. You honestly never know. I mean, there's certain players that at this point, absent foul trouble, Cheyenne is getting a ton of minutes. Other than that, everyone else is subject to, hey, it's the second half and you're just on the bench. And
It's true. I mean, Jalea was out for a game. She was coming off the bench for a bit. Dwyer was starting the beginning of the year. Now she's coming off the bench. The bigs have all been rotating. I mean, Cheyenne started the year off the bench, but at this point,
no,
I
but
mean,
she's
she's
the only
starting
one
every
that, like, I think on a game-to-game basis, really, regardless of how it's going, is going to
she's gonna
get
play.
like 30 minutes at least, unless there's foul trouble. And I think everyone else,
And honestly, I think Jada's getting to that point also.
I don't know.
I just because she does the little things that people don't talk about, and I've mentioned it before that I think she's really underrated.
No, I think she is, but I think there's definitely, in fact, it's happened
Oh no,
recently.
Cheyenne's another level, but I'm just saying, like,
I'm not talking about
Jada's-
quality of player. What I'm talking about is, you know, there's another version of this game where Jada just sits on the bench and Jasmine's playing, and you're not really like, why isn't Jada in the game? Why is Jasmine in? Right, and that's what I mean. Cheyenne's the only one where if we were to bench her for an entire half, you'd be like, what the F? But what I was getting at is, it doesn't phase this team. Like, the players that get benched,
they're ready.
are just as, but also just as into the game. Like, they're like, Jasmine is, you know, she was one of the 2 players we sent to the basketball tip off. She's kind of the returning leader of this team. She spent most of the second half on the bench, was just as excited as the players on the court when that buzzer sounded. Like, there's a really strong team.
Oh no, you can tell.
there.
I mean, everybody on the bench is cheering. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, Kyla didn't step on the floor in the second half.
Yeah.
And she's on the bench cheering. And then players that played the whole second half who maybe didn't play a lot in the game. But I mean, Z only played like 14 minutes last game.
Yeah. And it's just
you
a
see her on the
strong.
bench cheering. They're all rooting for each other and they're all ready because either all of them all of them could be starters anywhere. So, but I do think losing Lamaya is a big loss.
Yeah, I mean, that was the one downer, and actually Coach cut her press conference short to go check on her. Although, I mean, we don't have anything official. I did do it. I guess we can ask Brock, you know, and he'll probably give us some kind of, we're evaluating, because the one benefit the women have of not having a bunch of media covering them is they don't have to say shit. So they generally, no one's hounding them like, what's the status? So I don't think we're going to see her again this year, just based on the way that looked. Be shocked if she didn't tear anything. Although I will say Z had a similar injury at similar time of the season last year at Syracuse, and it ended up being, wow, she somehow didn't tear anything. And with that heavy brace, she was back in the tournament. But I mean, I think that's an edge case and not likely here.
Yeah.
I mean, she couldn't put any weight on it.
I mean, if it's anything but an ACL, I'd consider it fortunate.
Yeah, no, it would be. So I think it's a big loss. So let's talk. We touched on this a little bit earlier. What is the is it more of the two bigs? Are we going to see Allie more?
Well, I mean, you talk about what you're losing with Lamaya, and I think she's one of our better defensive players. It's something they talked about in the offseason about how well she plays defense. I think she's the most unafraid of our guards. She is not afraid to drive in and take layups and do these things. I think she's a pretty decent 3-point shooter too. I think she's a very versatile guard and a great player to have coming off your bench. It also sucks as well because it's her first year in the system after transferring in. She's a sophomore. Getting familiar with the system this year is a really good stepping stone into her junior and senior season and becoming one of the vets and starting and doing all these things. So it's a setback for her. But with her gone, you're going to see more of Dwyer, and I would assume you're going to see more of Stedman.
Yeah, or we could see more
or the two guard or the two big lineup. Yeah,
and we could also see some kind of smaller. Like we haven't really. I don't recall seeing a lot of lineups that are like Lachey, Jalea, Cheyenne, and like Jasmine or Jada. Right. It's because Lamaya is a little bit bigger. She's able to play more of the four.
The thing is,
the stretch four.
I like Julia and I like Lachey, but they're not our best jump shooters. They're really great defensively. They're really good at driving the ball, and they're very off and on shooting jump shots. I don't like having the two of them on the floor together.
Yeah, no, and it was actually an interesting, there were some interesting lineups when Cheyenne was in foul trouble, and you did have those two with Tasha and Z.
And I was just like, oh my god.
And Jada's there, but other than Jada, you're like, no one can really shoot.
It's like, where's your offense coming from?
Oh, you just hit the glass. Get it inside, get it up on the rim, go get the ball.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
But you also need to have the threat of the three, otherwise they're just going to pack it in the paint. And Jalea and Lachey are not a threat. I mean, they have made 3-point shots, but they're not a threat.
I would say Jalea is. Actually, they've both
gotten better shooting, but they're not like big threats like a Jada or a Lamaya would be. Or I mean, obviously, and Cheyenne can freaking hit it from anywhere. But I didn't like that lineup.
But I think it kind of worked. I think one of the kind of last things I wanted to touch on there, though, because I think it's related to that lineup, is so. We are a team that likes to pressure. They were doing a real. We did force a couple of turnovers, but they were doing a real good job just attacking our trap and getting layups and easy. They beat us over the top multiple times. There was I was surprised we kept sticking with it. Obviously, it paid off in the end, but I think that was part of it as well. Was I think we wanted the quicker lineup because we were trying to speed the tempo up, speed the pace up. And
well, that's why you saw more of Tosh and Z instead of rolling Pilot in there.
Yeah, no, I think so. But it was kind of interesting that we just persisted with that. All right, we're going to keep trying because they kept breaking it. And they get a lot of, again, Harris and then Robinson is like really good, not just around the rim, but handling the ball. So, if you get her the ball, even if we're kind of back, if you get the ball to her when the defense is scrambling back into position, she's going to score.
Yeah.
So, and not again, Harris handling the ball is not something great for us either. So it's interesting we stuck with it. We did force a couple of turnovers out of it, but I think that's why we saw that backcourt a lot. It was definitely our quickest.
I'd be interested to know if we practice that lineup in before the game in sessions, because up until that game, we really hadn't seen two bigs on the floor at once. And Tosh and Z played like the entire second half on the floor. So I'm interested to know if that's been practiced. Also, I would really like to see Z, maybe not when it's a close game, but I would love to see her get some more like 3-pointers or like, corner jump shots, because if you have Toshin, or even Tosh shooting it too, and
Tosh is a better shooter than Z.
Yeah,
but
if you can stretch the floor with one of them, that would be key. A little like high-low post type of thing, and stretching the floor with one of them shooting. Tosh made a 3. I would love to see one of them do that.
It's like you're in my brain, because as you were talking a minute ago, I was pulling up the 3-point stats because I was curious. there's some
No, Tosh
fascinating.
made a 3.
No,
Tosh
no,
did
but
make-
there,
she
no,
most
but there's
certainly made one,
no,
I
but there's
believe.
some fascinating numbers here, percentage wise, and so the leading 3-point shooter on the team is Cheyenne
Mhm.
at 39.4, Lamaya second at 39.1. Kyla has not attempted or made a 3, not surprising. She's at 0. The next lowest 3-point shooter is Allie, 22.4%. And Tasha is, I mean, it's only 3 for 8, but she's 37.5%. Jalea and Jalea 33, and she's basically made a third of them. Lachey has made 35%. They're making the shots. They both shoot better than Jada does.
Jada's coming into it though. Like the last few games, she's been making shots. She had a very slow start offensively to the year.
Yeah, no, but it's
This
interesting
season.
because so then I I'm drilling into the totals here because some of them are Z is 25% because she's 1 of 4. I mean that's not really a thing, right? I mean whatever. That's Anthony Walker's. Actually, Anthony Walker's 1 of 30, but
But I'm
um
saying if one of them can improve with their jump shooting and you can start dragging a big out of the paint
yeah,
because they're
I
a
think that
threat.
part. I think that person's probably Tasha, but
Yeah. I mean either one of them. But you know how I favor Z, so
yeah, no, but I think it's when they're playing together, right? So if you're talking about
yeah.
total,
When they're
you
playing
want
together, I'm just saying like if one of them can bring a big out of the paint, especially with how mobile both of them are and how athletic they are, um, I think that could be really fun to watch. And especially if you have like if your guards are like Cheyenne and Jada and Jasmine and like people that or even Jalea, whatever. But and you have 3-point shooters surrounding that or that are a threat to drive. I think that could be a really high point scoring lineup. But they have to show they can do it so you can drag people out. Because I mean, the 2 threes that Tosh took, I think she was like wide open
yeah,
because
no,
the big didn't come out.
but again, that was a mistake on their part because again, she
Yeah.
shoots it pretty well.
Hmm.
Um, and so do Jalea and Lachey on non-trivial. I mean, Jalea's taken 36 threes, Lachey's taken 40. So these are not trivial attempts. They're shooting in the
No, their
mid 30s.
shooting's gotten better. I mean, Lachey had the game of all games against NC State. I mean, we got to get her family back down from Toronto. But no, their shooting's gotten better. But if I need someone shooting a 3 at the end of the game, I'm giving the ball to Shy.
Yeah, no, I mean she's clear the space out and let her go to work.
Hmm.
Um, or throw it to Z when you're down 3 at half court and have her drive in and try to.
Listen. You know, I love Z. So
It wasn't her fault. It was just we were out of time. You always want to have that extra time out.
Literally, me in the group text last night. I'm watching the game. I'm like, how the fuck is Z only entering the game with 4 minutes in the second quarter left? Like, I don't understand what's going on. But I will say, I'm really happy to see Tosh getting so much time.
Well, I
And
think
I'll keep saying it. All 3 of them are going to be key
I
for
would
any type
extend
of
that
postseason run.
actually. Like at some point, every single player on this team is going to be called upon
Yeah.
to contribute in a big spot. They're going to have to
But
answer
that's
the
the
bell.
most time she's gotten in a game, and there was a few games before this where she was maybe seeing, like, single digit minutes or no minutes at all. So I think this was a big game for her as far as it's the most minutes she's played all season in a game because she wasn't even playing to start the season coming back from injury.
Right.
So I think this is a big thing for her to get into rhythm. And especially her and Z kind of meshing well. So I not a lot of teams have the rotation abilities that we have as far as our front court is concerned. I think it's going to be a big advantage for us.
Yeah, no, and they're different styles of players too. So
Yeah.
allows us to play different styles. What we need is Allie to shoot better.
Yeah. Allie's not getting consistent minutes, and I don't think she's had a chance to really get in rhythm offensively this year.
Yeah, and I think she's pressing a little bit. That shot she took in the first half.
Yeah.
Um,
But I think her defense has been really good.
well,
And
that's why.
I don't think any of us expected that. Like we thought she was coming in to be a shooter. But she's played pretty good defense.
And that's actually why she keeps getting chances, because the shots have been inconsistent, but the defense hasn't been. Defense
But
has
she's
been
gonna
really
get more
good.
minutes without Lamaya. That's
Yeah, and that's why we just need her to step up and make. First of all, not she is a very good shooter. You don't need to force it. That shot she took in the first half, where she was like covered, and
yeah.
it just I'm just gonna shoot it. I mean, no.
She's gonna have a game. She's gonna have a game at some point where we're gonna need big minutes
I
from
mean,
her, and she's gonna catch her stride, and we're gonna be like, okay, this is the alley we were expecting. Maybe
I
she'll
mean,
do that.
she's done that a couple of times, unfortunately, in losses. But like that
Yeah.
UNC game you mentioned, we went down early and came back, and came up a little bit short. She spearheaded the comeback there
With her defense.
I think it was Louisville too as well, where she hit 2 threes in that game
She hit
too.
2 threes, but she also was playing really good defense.
Right, and I think the Louisville game might have been the one where she stole the ball like 2 or 3 times in a row and kind of got us back into that game. And just those 2 games we lost tight games against highly ranked teams. But she has contributed. I think now that she's going to see, hopefully, she's gonna, like you said, she's gonna get more opportunities. Just naturally, she's going to be a little bit more patient on the shot selection.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't need. I think she's still putting that pressure to, because she's probably out of our, on a worse version of our team, she's starting and playing 30 minutes. She's that good. Now, when you've got all these guards in front of you, you're not going to do that. So I think she's probably been most victim of inconsistent playing time, where, she gets a good run in one game. The next game, she plays like on 2 minutes in the first half and then doesn't play again. And I think because of that, she's pressing when she's in there. She's like, I got to go in there and make some shots immediately, or I'm not going to play again. And so now,
and she doesn't need to do that, but I understand.
But especially now, there's a good opportunity for her to just, okay, you're going to get your chances. So just stick with it. It'll come to you. So
I'm looking at the box score. It's great. Jalea played 39 minutes. That's pretty much the entire game.
Yeah, no, it's she, and we needed it.
And Cheyenne and Jada probably would have played more, but they were in foul trouble. Plus, Cheyenne still played 32.
Yeah, no, that was definitely.
And Z played pretty much the whole second half because she didn't play the whole first half and played 27 minutes. So
she I don't think she came out in the second half, did she?
Well, subtract that by 4 because she played 4 minutes in the first half. So she played 23.5 minutes in the second half and overtime. So she came out at some point for 2 minutes.
Think about when, because I feel like Coach said she played the whole time.
Did she not play the whole last? Because she came in with 4 minutes left in the second quarter. Did she play those full 4 minutes, or did they
I don't
take
think
her
so.
out?
I think she.
Okay, maybe that's it. That could be it too. I don't remember. I just remember being pissed. So,
very people.
But we got the win, so we are now 5-6 in the ACC.
Yeah, and okay, so now is where, and look, Clemson's not a great team. But they do obviously have some talented players, and we saw that. We ran into some issues there, but we're able to see it out, which is a big win, because what we're trying to do now, like looking at the latest bracketology, we're a 9 seed head to South Carolina. I've seen that story before. I don't think that persists. As long as we take care of business, we're going to move up the seed line. We're probably a win or two short from having a hosting chance. And we finished that North Carolina game, or the Louisville's actually turns out that's our opener in the ACC. It was on New Year's Eve. Turns out that they're one of the best teams in the conference again. They've kind of recovered after a year where they were kind of down a little bit.
Well, I mean, let's look at the remaining schedule.
Yeah, we'll do that in a second. But I guess what I'm getting at is there's still a lot of upside in this. Probably not enough to get us all the way to hosting, but certainly enough to get you out of that. Okay, we're
having to play the 1 seed in the second round.
Yeah, and then you start thinking, all right, the 7 seed has to play the 2 seed. Can we get up to a 6 or a 5? Potentially, if you take care of business, you can get up to there where, you might have to play a road game, but it's a 4 versus 5 game. You can go win that. So I think, Georgia Tech is okay.
We're
Like, they're
at
not.
Georgia Tech on
Yeah.
Sunday.
We are at. Yeah. So the rest of the
It's
schedule.
a winnable game.
It's a must win if you're going to get. Look, this is a team. We'd have to pretty heavily collapse. That's the rest of our schedule to not make the NCAA tournament. Because
Syracuse would be a big win as far as resume building.
there's a couple there, right? Syracuse and Florida State next week at home.
Yeah.
But these games, look, we still have to go to Clemson, which, no pushover. But if you as you look at these games, there's games you're expecting to win. I did air quotes for the audio people that are road games, so they're not easy. Georgia Tech is one of those. Going and winning on the road in the ACC is tough. Except for Wake Forest, who's terrible. But other than that, like, this is going to be a tight game. If we're going to really substantively move out of that, 7, 8, 9, 10 maybe range where you're going to be on the road at a top 8 team in the second round, we got to win. I would say pretty much everything other than, you could probably drop one of Syracuse or FSU, not both.
Yeah.
And then, that's going to give you a healthy ACC record. It's going to be more quality wins, good road record.
Do something in the ACC tournament.
Yeah, I mean,
at least get a first day bye.
Which we're angling towards now. And I think, again, if we take care of business, we'll easily do that. So there's every opportunity to play our way out of that where we've landed the last 2 weeks. Look, it's awesome. We went into Bloomington and won. You don't want to have to do that again, like that type of thing. What you want to do is...
No, because the year before we had to play at South Carolina, and South Carolina is still freaking undefeated. And if you look at it, it's going to be like South Carolina, Iowa, like these
this is where
good teams.
This is where we're sitting right now. This is us.
And South Carolina's region, again.
Yeah, now, there's plenty of upside here. But are we going to be able to get all the way up to a 4 seed, which is where you get to host? Probably not. But, you can get to a 5.
But look at the projected ones. South Carolina, Iowa. Scroll down.
Yeah.
South Carolina, Iowa, NC State, and Stanford. We've beaten NC State, but
Right, but again, even if you're looking at the 2s, right? At UCLA, at Ohio State, at Colorado, at Texas. Those are second-round games. Those are low probability games. Now, if you can start working your way back up the seed line, you start getting into these 6 and especially these 5 range. These now you're becoming like, can we go win in Kansas State? Absolutely. Right. And so Gonzaga, we can go kick their ass. Now, one of the things that's going to be, and this is why it's really important you win those ACC conference games, it's this. They're everywhere. You got to pass teams in that pecking order. Like, if you start looking at these seed lines, by the way, we beat them in Starkville. Where's my credit for that? I was there. But you start looking at this, for example, Florida State's a 7 seed, right? Well, we got to beat them because we got to jump them, right? And then you start looking through some of these other ones. There are limited, North Carolina being a 6 seed, right? You can get Notre Dame 5 seed. Now, Notre Dame and North Carolina are 2 teams. We played all 3 of those teams on the road. So there's going to be some relief there. But you start looking at where they could potentially place us when you have all these ACC teams hosting. Louisville, obviously Virginia Tech. And then,
they're not going to place us in that.
No, they won't put us in there. So you start losing spots you can slot into. So it's really important you play your way as high as possible. Jump teams in the pecking order. Get in front of Florida State. Get in front of potentially, North Carolina and even Notre Dame. If you start racking these wins up, then all of a sudden you'll get opportunities. Because right now, this 9 teams, they got to stick you somewhere. And that's also dictating some of the why we're going to get sent to South Carolina right now, because so many of the top 4 seeds are ACC teams. They're taking all the host sites.
Yep. We got to keep winning. We don't want to play South Carolina in the second round.
No, they don't get what's coming to them.
Huh?
They won't know what hit them.
I listen. We beat a 1 seed last year. I'd rather not tempt the fates. Let's not be an 8 or a 9
I'm
seed.
joking, of course, but also when we played there 2 years ago, we gave them a hell of a game. It was a really, they were just, I mean, we just could not. We could not make, actually very similar to that LSU game. We just could not make shots. We challenged them more than anyone else in that tournament. They just rolled everyone except for that game.
Mhm.
So I mean, look, wherever we go, we're not going to go down without a fight. But you know, if we can run off some wins here, we can make that path easier. And looking right now, you know, games on like the game on Sunday. That's a game you got to go win. You have to do it.
Yeah. I mean, the Syracuse game too, man. Another ranked opponent win would be amazing because right now our big wins are NC State. We beat Mississippi State when they were ranked at Starkville.
They're in this projection as a 7 seed, and we beat
Yeah,
them on
and
the
then I
road.
think Duke is another big win we have.
Duke is a good win. Yeah, we have 3 kind of wins you hang your hat on. Which, you know, again, we don't really have. I mean, Boston College is definitely our worst loss. Other than that, you're talking about losses on the road to tournament teams for the most part.
Like ranked, yeah.
Yeah. No,
Baylor, NC State, or North Carolina, Louisville, and Notre Dame.
And Florida State are all.
Yeah, but we're going to beat them this next one, so it'll even
right.
out.
But they're all top 25, top 30.
Yeah, there's
teams.
no really bad law. I mean, Boston College.
Boston College is, and that was an atrocious performance, and we can't have another one of those types of things.
Mm-mm.
But if we do take care of business, you know, we're through that. Like you said, Syracuse is the only ranked team we have left. We do have Florida State coming to town the game after that. Other than that, like these are all teams you're better than. So now's the time.
Got to take care of business.
Well, like you said, we're 1 game under 500 right now. We got 8 games left. 8, 7, 7 games left, and you know, 6-1, 7-0 is on the table in those games, and you do that, and you come out of the ACC with that kind of a record. Let's see where they put us, but you know, 12-6 in the ACC is a hell of a thing.
Shit, I would take like 10-8. I mean,
12-6 is a hell of a thing.
It is. It'd be great, but we got to win.
12-6. I'm telling you, if you want to actually, you know, put a stake in the ground and say we're going to position ourselves in the NCAA tournament to make a run, which we didn't do last year. I mean, we were down 17 points at half in the first game because we were playing a team that was pretty even with us. Mm-hmm. So, you know, if you want to avoid that, you gotta win these games.
Mm-hmm.
7-0. That's what you gotta do.
Easier said than done.
No, it is. It is. It's not easy. And like we said, going on the road in the ACC is not easy. But you know, you got Georgia Tech twice. You got Clemson. You got Virginia. You got to be winning those games.
Agreed.
So that game is Saturday at 2 p.m. Sunday, sorry, at 2 p.m. in Atlanta. Anything else?
That's it. We just got to keep winning.
Yep.
We need one of the basketball teams to rep in the tournament.
Speaking of which, so we got a busy weekend here on the network. So on tomorrow morning from the team store, we'll be doing a baseball show. That's at 10 a.m., but it'll also be out on our YouTube channel. So if you're able to make it out to Coral Gables, definitely stop by, say hi. Otherwise, you can just watch it on YouTube like you do normally. Then the men, of course, host North Carolina at 4. I believe we tentatively have some late night buckets coming tomorrow as well.
We'll see what the final score is, but I think that was the plan. I don't know. We all might be really pissed tomorrow night, so we'll see what happens.
I
have low expectations, but
I don't shirk responsibility. Like if we lose, we lose. I'll be here. We don't just show up when the team wins. So we will show up when the team loses.
I don't know. Matt's cussing in the group text.
Yeah, he's fired up. I'm not sure. He's claiming he's not drunk. I don't know. Maybe too much Chipotle. But so we'll have that on Saturday. Sunday we would do a show after the women's game, but the Super Bowl's there. So, but we will have we'll have some midweek buckets for sure next week as well.
Yeah, just follow us at buckets_canes as always. We
Yep.
also have a network Twitter now that we just started as 5 Reasons Canes. And that Twitter will be promoting all 3 shows on the network on the 5 Reasons for all the Cane shows. So Buckets, 6 String Canes, and the baseball show, which you guys will, I guess, are eventually naming. So definitely follow us there also. But definitely follow us at Buckets_Canes. And then we will have shows as often as we can, and then once the off season starts, it'll be a bunch of shenanigans again for a few months.
Yep. And so as
Back to NBA grid.
Oh boy, I'm not ready yet. So as Melissa said, it's there has been a little bit of a rebrand. 5 Reasons Canes, which is also our podcast feed. So search for 5 Reasons Canes. This show, as well as everything else we do, goes out on that feed.
Yep. Anything else, Vish?
I think there's one thing left to do.
Well, before that, if anyone's still listening to this, thanks for watching. Shout out to Nate, who's our usual.
I mean, we had some. We got.
Shout out to Nate, usual guy who's always chit-chatting with me about the women's sports, women's basketball, and then Drunk Matt, Daniel, Al. Thanks for tuning in. Is it gonna work? There we go. All right, cue the Sox outro. Don't cry. Keep it chill. Wear good socks.